What's going on, everyone? We're back again in person.
We're back.
Actually.
This is not a special effect.
No, there has been a lot of news going around in the sports world recently, as always, and a little bit. There's been a little bit.
There's been an average amount of sports news.
And we are here to talk about it. Mm-hmm. That being said, I'm Adam Avin.
I'm Zach Roisman.
And this is episode 23 of Make Your Point.
23.
Hey, you're watching Make Your Point.
So, we're back.
We're back.
It feels good to be back. And
great.
It's our first one in over a year together in person.
Since before COVID.
Yeah, and, obviously we've been able to keep it going and still talk with our friends and do Make Your Point over Zoom, but it's nice to just sit and talk. And
right.
Speaking of just sitting and talking, the draft was last week. And obviously, Mel Kiper's there. All the analysts are there. They're making their predictions, their mock drafts and things. And if you guys follow us on Instagram and you see on our Instagram page, we posted our first round predictions on the Instagram. So, I went and calculated the amount of each one of us got correct. Me, Jesse, Kenan, and you, and obviously Mel Kiper. So, with that being said, here are the standings of this year's draft rankings.
What are the standings?
Kenan got 2 correct. But I gave him 2.5. He got 2 correct.
2 total correct?
First round, yes. In his first round mock draft, he got 2 correct.
Only 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I gave him 2.5 because he said Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah would go to the Browns in the first round, but he actually fell to the second round and the Browns drafted him. So I gave him like a 2.5.
Okay.
That's fair, right?
Got the team right, just not the round right. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
So he got him at 2.5. And I came in second to last with 4. I got 4 correct. Mel Kiper got 5. He beat me by 1. Jesse got 6 and you got 7. You won.
That's what I'm saying.
You won.
I beat Mel Kiper, guys. Come on.
I'm
the draft king
honestly,
now.
From 7 to 5, you crushed Mel Kiper.
That's nice. I really did. In fact, I was 3 away from doubling him.
Yeah.
And only 2 away from tying him.
You did very good.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, so.
But more important than beating Mel Kiper is I beat you.
Yes, you did.
I did.
You did. I was close. We all make good predictions. We all make good predictions.
Kind of close.
All right. So, obviously, guys, the biggest story over the past couple weeks has been the ongoing Aaron Rodgers Packers drama. After rumors of Rodgers, talking bad about Packers GM Brian Gutekunst in group chats with other teammates or former teammates, the Packers drafting his future replacement in Jordan Love last year.
Yeah.
The tension that has been between the Packers and Rodgers is really just now coming to light. So, as you've been hearing all this news circulating in the internet, do you see the situation getting resolved in any way? Do you see Aaron Rodgers playing in a Packers uniform next year?
I don't know. It depends on how prideful he is, how stubborn he is. And I say that not in a negative way at all, because if I was Aaron Rodgers, I would be gone. I would have had enough. Take a look at the Dolphins, and obviously we drafted Tua, and what have we been doing with Tua? We've been making him our franchise quarterback, and we drafted him this year wide receiver. We're giving him weapons. We're trying to build a franchise around him.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers has been the franchise player for the Packers for a really long time, since he really took over, and yet they have not been treating him as the franchise guy, and we've seen it with, instead of drafting him a good, strong receiver or even someone in the offensive line, someone to help him, they drafted his replacement. And then he went and had an MVP season. They should have been publicly apologizing, if even that, some sort of damage control, and we didn't see that. I think that drafting Jordan Love I would have been out of there. If you're that caliber of quarterback and you want your organization to really build around you, and then they draft your replacement, that's not reconcilable.
And I think the most important thing too is the fact that year after year they're not providing him the weapons that he needs to continue to succeed. And
it's not just a 1-year thing; it's a pattern.
He's still leading them to 13-3 seasons and NFC championships.
He's carrying them.
They haven't gone all the way in recent years, but he's still carrying the team on his shoulders. And obviously, he has Aaron Jones, top 10 running back. He has Devontae Adams, probably top 3 wide receiver. Sorry,
third try.
So he does have a couple guys, but it's very difficult when.
But they're clearly not building it around him.
It's very difficult when the whole secondary is triple teaming Devontae Adams,
right?
And they're
That's what happens when you got your one guy and that's it.
Yeah, and so it's obviously been difficult on Rodgers, and Gutekunst isn't helping anyway. They've drafted They've drafted 3 offensive players in the last 16 seasons, excluding Aaron Rodgers, 2 of which were offensive.
Which their defense has been great, but at a certain point, who's your franchise guy?
Yeah. That being said, though, I strongly believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to return to Green Bay, and I just think that the owner and the people in the organization should just be smart enough to notice, like, if your franchise quarterback isn't happy, who's 37 years old and is still playing the best football that he's ever played,
he's coming off an MVP
and there's
season.
already rumors right now that they already offered him the highest contract out of any quarterback in history, which would beat Mahomes.
Right.
Which
is it about money for him, though? Which I don't think it is.
Yeah, but in the NFL, you show your worth and an appreciation of talent by the amount you pay them. Obviously, in 3 years at Mahomes from starting quarterback, they recognize this dude is the best we've ever seen. Right. So we give him $500 million.
Because we want to lock him down. He's ours. Yeah. He's our guy. And so they're not making Rodgers their guy. Yeah, and now that's what they're trying to do.
So I think if the Packers really wanted to make amends, it's like, give him what give him the moolah,
give him money, right?
And I don't even think Rodgers really cares about that.
I don't think so.
I think he wants input.
Sure, State Farm is paying him well enough.
Yeah, discount double check.
Right.
Discount, yeah. But
discount double check. We're not getting paid.
But either way, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, subscribe. We need monetization. No, I mean, it's like, either way, if he stays in Green Bay or not, he's going to make a lot of money. He's going to lead a team, whatever team he's playing on, to NFC, AFC Championship, Super Bowl. Obviously, the rumors about the Broncos. People are saying even the Dolphins would be a good destination. And I mean, I'm all for bringing Aaron Rodgers to Miami.
Yeah, I would not be opposed to Aaron Rodgers in Miami.
Yeah, but he's going to be a great player for a while, and obviously Brady's 43, he's still going. Aaron Rodgers is a few years younger, and he's still going. So. Another player that's been kicking ass very recently, who has his whole career, but specifically right now, is Russell Westbrook. Yeah. And Russell Westbrook just recently passed Oscar Robertson on the all-time triple-doubles list.
He did do that.
He has 182 now.
Yep.
Which the record has been held for 47 years, which is just absolutely insane.
It's more than Westbrook has been alive.
And on top of that, Russ has been averaging a triple-double 4 in the past 5 seasons. So he's been incredibly consistent, kind of like Rodgers in the NFL. Same amount of yards every year, same amount of touchdowns every year, still performing at a very high level.
He's got that consistently elite status.
Even
it's
after
not
switching
just,
teams every few years, right? Too, for him. So, with all these accomplishments, which just seem kind of unbeatable at this point, with that Russ has kind of completed the past couple of years, where does he rank on your all-time point guard list? Like, give me your top 5.
All right, my top 5. I have Magic Johnson at number 1. I have Curry at number 2. Yeah. I got Oscar Robinson at number 3. Isaiah Thomas at number 4. And then I have Russell Westbrook at number 5. But it should be noted that, well, obviously Curry's still playing. Westbrook, I think he's got a lot of years left. I think that by the time he retires, he will not be 5. I think that he can easily pass Isaiah Thomas. I think obviously he already broke Oscar Robinson's record. I think within a couple of years, he will unquestionably be above Oscar Robinson.
I would say same for Steph too. He could be 1.
He could absolutely move up to 1, and it's hard to compare at a certain point because Magic Johnson and Steph and Curry, they don't play really the same way at all, and so it's really difficult to compare. I think that for sure both of them by the end of their career they will be considered, if not two of the greatest at the position ever.
And obviously, obviously you could have Steve Nash in there, you could have Jason Kidd in there, you can have even Chris Paul in there, you can have John Stockton in there. So obviously there's a few guys.
The white guys.
Yeah, but accomplished point guards in there.
Absolutely.
And
leave John Stockton one of the just greatest assisters ever.
He leads. He doubles in all-time assists and in steals. He leads in both, and obviously you can't. It's hard to diminish someone's talent when you see those stats.
He is one half of maybe the greatest duo ever.
Obviously,
so
you could include James Harden, although I don't really consider him to be a point guard. You can include LeBron in there just because they initiate the offense.
Okay.
And that's
okay. Max
over the past couple of years.
Max
it's true.
Did you say Chris Paul?
No, I didn't.
I think Chris Paul could also be in that consideration for sure.
I said Chris Paul.
Oh, you did already.
So my list is. I said Magic Johnson as 1. I said Steph as 2.
Oh wow.
I said Isaiah Thomas at 3.
Oh, so much worse than my list.
I put Russ, and then I put John Stockton at 5.
Wow.
And I had John Stockton on there obviously because he
disrespecting Mr. Triple Double,
all-time steals leader. I didn't have Mr. Triple Double was Russ now.
It's true. No, the nickname remains. The nickname remains.
I didn't put Oscar Robertson on there just plainly based off the fact that he played. Obviously, this record has been held for 47 years. So he played again. The time that he played in is obviously a lot different from now. And obviously, our parents. Our parents would say MJ's the best ever. Their parents would say Oscar Robertson's the best ever. Kareem is the best ever, right? So by generation, but the talent that even that in the 90s or now that is being played today, I just think is uncomparable to the era that Oscar Robertson played in, because he was a 6'6", monster who was getting triple-double every night back then. The seasons were shorter and they were playing.
You forgot to mention Dwayne Wade, who is the greatest of all time.
He's not a point guard.
No, just in general.
Yes, I completely agree with that too. I'm getting a phone call.
Are you?
It was Jesse, actually.
Really, was it Jesse?
Hey Jess, you called, but we're filming, so I'm not answering you. So, all right, those are our top 5 point guards list. Give us your top 5 point guards list. We'll put it on the Instagram. Comment down below.
100%.
And
argue with Adam in the comments. Talking to you, Mr. Bryce Pritchett.
So we're back in person.
This is crazy.
And for our first show back, we thought it'd be fun to bring on a special guest.
Of course.
Right. So obviously, we have a long list of fans who watch Make Your Point.
It's very long.
And a lot of fans reach out to us. They say, we want to be on Make Your Point. We want to talk with you guys. We want to debate.
Yeah.
Because I know you have some controversial opinions.
You have controversial opinions
that people take to the news. But
you.
Well, it's okay. Well, today's the day we make someone's dream into reality. So everyone, please welcome living sports encyclopedia, 12-year-old Zach from South Florida. Zach, how are you today, man?
I'm great, Adam. How are you?
I'm good. So Zach is sitting here next to me, and we know you. We know that you are a big Gator fan. You're a big Dolphin fan, and obviously you're here in South Florida. So the Gators right now, obviously the biggest news is with Tim Tebow, Florida alumni, quarterback turned tight end going to Jacksonville. So give us your thoughts on the whole Tim Tebow back with Urban Meyer in Jacksonville situation.
Sure. So I think it's a good and bad move. The reason why is because in college, Tebow said he refuses to play any other position. He can only play quarterback. However, I wasn't born during his college days, but I do my research and I watch plays and stuff. So you can tell by his frame and his size. I always thought when I was watching, why didn't he ever play tight end? Because based on his size and frame, I thought he would make a really good one. The only question I asked myself was, does Tebow have good hands? That's I think the reason he refused to play another position in college. He obviously is considered by most the greatest college football quarterback of all time. Urban Meyer was his coach in college. As we know, Urban Meyer is now the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who people have very high hopes on. And Tebow just signed a 1-year contract with them. Do I think this is a good move? Again, yes and no. Yes, because Tebow gets to reunite with Urban Meyer. They played with each other before, coach and player. Yes, Tebow's in a different position. I don't think it will benefit him in the worst way possible. Tebow could be I'm not going to say great. He could be good. He could be horrible. Let's see, bad, because he's been receiving, I think, a lot of unnecessary hate. The reason why I say this is because in the NFL, you have to earn for what you get. Things just don't always come right in front of you. So if you want to get that starting job as a tight end, you need to work for that, especially, in the NFL. So I've seen Des Bryant, some NFL analysts, criticizing Tebow or criticizing the Jaguars, saying why are they giving him this opportunity when there's people who really worked hard for it and earned it, and just stuff like that. So I think stuff can get to the Jaguars and him, not only just listening to all NFL fans and everything. On the other side of my answer being a yes or no answer, I think it could turn out into not a disaster, but a bad choice and result for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So
yeah, well, so obviously you brought up the point that just bringing in a player he's 33 years old too, so coming in years later after and a little controversial too. And so obviously he's a new coach, Urban Meyer, first time in the NFL head coach.
And I want to interrupt you right there. I think that is the only reason he came back to the NFL, because of Urban Meyer. But that's
very true.
Possible,
It's very possible. And there's a lot of theories too that Tebow, Urban Meyer might not even care if he's a tight end. He wants to bring him just to be a leader in the locker room.
Right, just have a vet there.
Oh, that's another thing.
Works with for sure.
But Zach, so a team that kind of released a lot of veteran players are our hometown Miami Dolphins this past offseason, and they brought in a lot of young talent through the draft and through signing.
As we call the rebuilding process.
Yeah, and obviously the rebuilding process went a little bit faster than we thought last year. When obviously they had a great season, they made it to the playoffs, or they were a game short. They should have made it to the playoffs. Obviously, Tua got in there, the whole thing happened. But as you look at their schedule right now, and obviously the NFL just released their whole schedule for every single NFL team last week. When you look at their schedule, where do you see the Dolphins ending up next year? Remember, it's a 17-game season next year.
This is a tough one. I made all my predictions the night the schedule dropped. I debated between 11-6 or 12-5. I ended up going with 12-5, not just because, oh my God, I'm a huge Miami Dolphins fan, they're going to do so well, but I believe they have the third easiest schedule in the NFL. So they could also receive a lot of, saying, oh, if they don't deserve to be in the playoffs, or of course they're in the playoffs. They have the third easiest schedule in the NFL, from even Dolphins fans who don't even support their team in those types of ways. I have them going 12-5. There's some key games that I'm really looking forward to that actually could go either way. But games like Tampa Bay, which a lot of people would disagree with me, saying, oh, no, Tampa Bay is going to win that. It's in Tampa Bay. Yeah, no, they don't have a chance. Another game is what was that?
I'm of that opinion. I don't think they're going to win that game.
Another team is the Tennessee Titans, week 17 in Tennessee. It's a 1:00 game. That could go either way with the Tennessee Titans' new offensive weapons. And they're just, they used to be an okay team. Now that I can see them building up, that could go either way. Miami's played Tennessee a lot in Miami the last couple of years. This year it's in Tennessee. And the last game I can see being a very close one, surprisingly, is the Jacksonville Jaguars game in London. A lot of people will say this one would be an easy win for the Dolphins. It's in another country. It's against a team who's building a whole new offense, drafted a quarterback with the first pick in the whole draft this year, as we know. But Jacksonville's going to be something. They're going to be something this year. I mean, with everything they've done and Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence, I'm not going to say Tebow in this case because I don't think he'll be a big difference in this situation. But they need to work on their defense, in my opinion. But yeah, I think there will be another close game, in my opinion. And yeah, I have them 12-5.
Awesome, Zach. So thank you so much for joining us on our first return back in person.
On our return,
Thank you for being our special guest, and we will definitely bring you on and talk to you soon, all right?
Thank you.
Well, Zach was great. He really knew his stuff, didn't he?
Yeah. I didn't know that when I was 12,
But I think it's good that, he'll be like us. So when he goes up and doing a YouTube thing with his friends and talking about sports. And
he'll carry on the Make It Point torch.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Definitely. And when we're on ESPN or whatever, and he'll come as our analyst too.
Right. So that is what will happen.
So thank you for coming on, Zach.
Yeah, thank you.
But as we continue here on this very special episode of Make Your Point, our first return back, the NBA playoffs are on their way. As obviously playoff seeding is starting to take place.
100%.
At this moment, our Miami Heat have clinched a playoff spot and have jumped up to 5th in the Eastern Conference, which is a pretty big deal. The Knicks sit at 6, which they have clinched a playoff spot, and the Celtics are going to be 7. That's pretty much all decided. But they're all within 1 game differences. So the Heat and Knicks really could switch, but I don't think that's going to happen at this moment in time, knock on wood. And the Western Conference, thank you. And the Western Conference is no different. Again, in this very moment, the Lakers are 7 and the Warriors are 8, which means they're in place to play one another in the NBA's new play-in tournament, which, when you look at the standings, would be a very exciting matchup. Obviously, Steph is on a hot streak, he's playing amazing. LeBron and AD are returned from injury. Today, May 15th, as we're filming this episode, they're playing against the Pacers. So Zach, when you look at the Warriors and when you look at the and the Lakers 7-8 right there in the Western Conference, and those higher seeded teams, the Jazz, the Suns, the Nuggets, the Clippers, which team is going to be a bigger threat in the Western Conference, the Lakers or the Warriors?
I mean, there's no way to know. Obviously, we look at every year, LeBron is just a playoff threat. Not just the team. I'm not as concerned with the other players, but LeBron's going to make a huge impact. Obviously, injuries have been a big part of why the Lakers haven't been dominating the West. At least in my opinion. I think AD and LeBron in there the whole time would be a very different season. So, just based on that, getting them back, I think that's great. But I mean, it's pretty hard to discount what Steph Curry's been doing. It's a question of how much is he going to be able to do relatively on his own. Obviously, he's not literally on his own. He's got some really, really strong role players on that team, and some people, obviously he's got some young players that are now scoring record highs, and so, we just saw that the other day.
Yeah.
And that's obviously really helpful. I don't know if it'll be enough to make him more of a threat than the Lakers, but it's all going to depend on LeBron's recovery. Obviously, he's coming back, but, not everyone's able to come back after an injury full strength. And so even if, they're saying he's full strength, whatever, obviously by the time this is released, we'll know how strong he's come back, but we have yet to see.
Yeah, and, I think if any team in the NFL is, NBA.
The NFL, yeah.
Yeah, NFL. Any team in the NBA, especially the Western Conference, is going to be terrified of LeBron James and Anthony Davis duo. And obviously, like hypothetically speaking, let's say the Lakers beat the Warriors in that play-in tournament. I don't think we've actually ever talked about the play-in tournament, so I'm going to just describe it for a second. So basically, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all playing for the last two spots in playoffs, which are going to be the 7 and 8 seeds officially. So 7 and 8 play each other. The winner of that game automatically gets pushed into the 7 seed and is going to play the number 2 seed in the Western Conference or Eastern Conference, which at this moment looks like it's going to be the Phoenix Suns. So either the Lakers or the Warriors will probably play them. And then the loser of that game, who it could be either the Lakers or the Warriors, will play the winner of the 9 and 10 game, which will either be the Grizzlies or the Spurs. And then the winner of that game will go into the 8th spot. So let's say hypothetically the Lakers go into 7, they beat the Warriors in that game, and they end up playing the Suns. They're going to have to probably go through a path of playing like the Suns, and then the Clippers probably, and then possibly the Jazz to get to the NBA Finals, and they're possibly going to play the Brooklyn Nets with James Harden, Kyrie, and KD.
Thank you for updating me on the roster.
If LeBron. Thank you. And if LeBron beats that 3 and wins a 5th championship back-to-back, no less, like a serious discussion is going to have to be considered. Like LeBron is one of the
well, the discussion's already there. That's a really
it's already
big
there, but like a lot of people who think right now Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. If LeBron does this, dealing with injuries this whole year, coming back and beating.
Well, at a certain point, how many more arguments can you make against LeBron?
LeBron already leads in all-time playoff scoring,
right.
He's obviously third in the all-time scoring list right now in total. I mean, beating all those teams which this season have just proved themselves tremendously. Obviously, the Suns have been in the playoffs in 12 years, and they're in Monty Williams and Devin Booker and CP3 and them, and they're in. So obviously, it would be a.
But I mean, I think that the Lakers have, in terms of just a threat in the playoffs and between the Lakers and the Warriors, which I think that's a close game. Those are two teams that are a very good matchup for each other. Obviously, Steph and LeBron is a matchup that really for this entire decade has been an absolutely huge thing, or at least the past 5-6 years or 6-7 years has been really quite the matchup. But that's much more difficult in my eyes for the Lakers than I think they can beat the Suns, and I think that they then can beat the Clippers as well. I think that their bigger concern than the Suns would actually be the Warriors. Not to say that the Warriors are a better team. I think that if the Warriors win, the Suns is going to be the tougher game for them. So it's really about matchup and how each team stacks up against each other.
I mean, back to the question asked, if I'm saying which team is, which team would be
I'm going the Lakers then.
Me too. I would say
Lakers are a bigger threat to the rest of the conference, whereas the Warriors are a bigger threat to the Lakers.
But obviously, you can't discount what Steph has done this year.
But I think that they're a big threat to the Lakers, less of a threat to the Suns and the Jazz.
That being said, guys, time is running out on this episode of Make Your Point. The game is on the line, and it is time for.
I think it's time for overtime, Adam. I think it's time for overtime.
3, 2, 1.
Overtime! That is the first time we've got it. This is what it's like to be back in person. The rules are simple. We have 1 minute to talk about 5 topics. So, Adam?
All right, so moving on. We need all right, 3. All right, there you go. Just the timer's here.
Thanks for letting the audience
know. Yeah, no problem.
Right?
Yeah, we're.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, Deshaun Watson is reportedly settling the allegations against him. Do you expect him to play at all this year?
I don't expect him to play it all this year, and to be honest, I don't know if I'll expect him to play it ever again.
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin scored 8 goals in an exhibition match against all of Russia's all-star hockey players. Give me your thoughts.
I mean, Vladimir Putin, he's a big guy, you know. No offense to American politicians, but in Russia, you know, these guys are a little different, you know. Now, DK Metcalf ran a 10-36 in the 100-meter at an Olympic qualifier. This is a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal, and obviously he came in last, but like it was a point difference. Like it's very good.
It's also the Olympics.
Yeah, Pat McAfee said if all the NFL got together to compete as a country in the Olympics, like they do very well, and I do think DK would do good. Maybe not in running because he's just a huge guy, but he did impressive. Yeah. Bucks GM said that Tom Brady can play till he's 50 if he wants to. Do you see him playing that long?
That would be pretty funny. You know, at a certain point, it really would. I mean, what would be really cool is if he has grandchildren while he's still playing. Yeah. You know, now Miami Heat has beat the number 1 seed 76ers the other night. Now, how far will they go in the playoffs?
I do think that they will end up going pretty far. Actually, depending on the seed that they get. Obviously, the 5th seed, and they're gonna probably they're gonna beat. It's going though. So they're gonna beat the Hawks, and they're gonna go on to the 1 seed, which are the Sixers, and we just killed the Sixers last week. So I'm pretty excited for that. Yes. So that's all for this episode of Make Your Point. Thank you guys for coming into our homemade studio here, right. And for our first time back in person in over a year. It's good to be back, and we'll do it again.
Yeah. Okay. And because we did so much effort for you guys better make sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow us on Instagram, everything. Just do all the works, you know, support us.
And as we're on the way out here, I filmed some of my reactions during the NFL draft. The top few picks that kind of caught me by surprise. I'm gonna play the reactions right now as we go out. We'll see you next time.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
With the 4th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Kyle Pitts.
No.
In the 2021 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Jalen Waddle.
Wow.
Alabama.
Wow.